After finishing his ritualistic wandering through the web, he tossed his phone aside. A wave of boredom washed over him, intensified by the treacherous heat of summer. He struggled to breathe, as if pleading for air through the eye of a needle. Stretching long like a cat, he finally reached out, disgruntled, and grabbed one of the scattered novels on his desk. Perhaps reading will make me forget this wretched shortness of breath, he thought to himself. He opened the book and delved into its first chapter. As soon as the opening sentences took a leftward turn, he realized the chapter was inhabited by a horde of tyrants, tyrants who guarded the holy book and yet offer unwavering counsel on the art of obedience to the prince. They were bred for slaughter in all its forms, the narrator suggested. Their leader, a police colonel known as the Writer, found particular pleasure in torturing the disobedient. This colonel, the Writer, aside from a few shallow articles scattered here and there, had never written literature. Perhaps that was why, whenever an aspiring storyteller fell into his hands, he would tear out their fingernails and cut off their tongue. "What are you doing here, you fool? Your tongue might be ripped out. Run away!" warned a voice echoing from the depths of his soul. Terror gripped him as he treaded the darkness of the chapter's corridor. It seemed as though eyes, glowing like the tips of burning cigarettes, were tracking his every move. "Staying here is a risk. I could be beheaded at any moment," he muttered under his breath, trembling, before sneaking into the next chapter. The furrows of fear were still etched on his forehead when, from the pages, emerged a girl in the prime of her youth, her hair cascading like a river, her slender figure adorned with long, fluttering lashes. She spun lightly on one heel like a butterfly before lying down on her bed with a smile, drifting into sleep in a violet skirt, like a slain maiden. At that moment, his eyes flashed with overwhelming admiration. Instinctively, thanks to his deep immersion in the art of storytelling, he recognized it: love. He had never experienced it before, nor had he ever longed for it in reality, but he knew it when he saw it. A shudder ran through him. He hid behind a sentence, then retreated into the emptiness of his room, contemplating. Perhaps one day I'll write a short story titled The Girl in Love. But what would I even write? Am I not crippled by my own pen? Am I not a feeble architect of sentences? Disheartened, he wiped the sweat trickling down his temples with the palm of his right hand. He sighed in frustration, scratched the tip of his nose against the book's edge, then stepped out from behind the sentence and began feeding himself words in silence. At the edge of the chapter, where darkness thickened, he found himself struggling to stand among a group of men and women shrouded in dense fog. They screamed and wailed before the rusted front of a train, one that had seemingly just run over a girl with flowing hair in a violet skirt. "Damn you, cursed narrator!" he burst out, scanning his room with wild eyes. In an instant, the joy that had momentarily flickered within him was snuffed out. "Didn't you know that men are hypocrites, traitors, deceitful bastards, unworthy of trust?" The poor girl, that scoundrel, tossed her aside like a worn-out shoe. "Damn it! Damn them all!" he heard a passerby whisper to another. "Lower your voice, you fool!" "The writer's informants are everywhere," the other warned in hushed tones. "Wretched bastard! Wretched bastard!" he muttered through gritted teeth, his face twisted in rage. Panicked, he fled the scene, stumbling out of the text itself. The weight pressing on his chest nearly suffocated him. "This world is filthy, utterly vile," he grumbled, hurling the book against the wall. "To hell with literature!